development, getting that paid if Bay County agrees. The next phase is basically after the first 500 units are built, from 500 units to roughly 1,800 units. And that would propose, at that stage, we would propose one to either pave this County Line Road, repave it, or if Bay County does not agree at that time, we would come over to Hartsford Boulevard and pave the unpaved portion of Hartsford Boulevard. So that would essentially, at that point, give you an entire paved connection all the way to State Road 77 to the west and all the way north to County Road 273 that ties into 77 north into Chipley area. At that point, we would also propose, if Bay County agrees, to construct turn lanes, an eastbound left and right turn lane onto 239. Now, after those 1,800 units, plus the amount of plus the office is what, 25,000, and the retail was 20,000. Is that correct? For prior to phase 2, the next phase would go to approximately 3118 units, 3,118 dwelling units, 80,000 square feet of retail, and 25,000 office. Then we would propose to, if we did not move forward with this segment A on County Line Road, we propose to do this last portion. Or if they allow us to proceed with 1B, this is where it gets confusing, then we would proceed with this one. So it's either this one or this one in 1B and 2. And the last thing I really wanted to point out is even up through phase 1 and phase 2 of our development, these roadways can handle, from a traffic capacity standpoint, can handle our traffic with this paved connection here and dirt roads remaining on County Line Road as well as Scott Road. Because the traffic would actually split. I mean, several people, if you don't pave County Line Road out, the folks going south into Bay County, they will also use Scott Road. And so we feel the capacity is fine on the dirt roads. And I think, I'm not sure if that's what the county has included, but the county has said, we just do not want to pave our roads at this point. And I'm not sure if I have any other issues on that. I mean, the total developer commitment for these paved roads is close to $7.5–8 million. So this is a lot of money, particularly of phase 1. So I don't really feel that the developer can commit any more to you than what he has for Washington County. Does anybody have any questions?
What portion of your roads that you're paving goes in the area of Spring Ridge?
The Spring Ridge roadways are, here's the Spring Ridge boundary, shown in white on your map. So it's segment E, which is this portion, segment F, and segment G.
Quail Hollow, Orange Hill Boulevard, and Hartsville.
According to the school bus routes, you're paving a lot of their bus routes right now. I mean, when you go through the paving stage, you are paving a lot of the school bus routes that are dirt roads right now.
And the maintenance costs get drastically reduced.
Right.
Because initially, we were proposing just to pay for maintaining the unpaved roads. And that's when the county continued to ask for paving.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to talk to you about water resources. Debbie Preble of Genesis Group. I want to talk first about stormwater. I will be talking about stormwater, water, and wastewater. As you can see, this is our master plan, which you've seen before, map H. All this green area is area that will be open space. There's a lot of open space left on the property. That doesn't even include open space on the individual lots. But there's an extensive amount of open space left on the property. We're going to use low impact development techniques, and all of these techniques we use are going to be designed to maximize the amount of recharge water that the stormwater provides. And we also are trying to maintain the existing hydrology of the property. We have extensive wetland buffers and then upland buffers beyond that. 100 foot, this is a wildlife corridor through there. And the buffers around both Gosham and Long Branch and Buckhorn Creeks. For our water for the project, we have based our the amount of water we intend to provide is based on the county's level of service. And so we intend to apply for permits based on that level of service, consumptive use permits, but we also intend to implement some pretty strict water conservation measures that we hope will be effective. Those include requirements for all Florida Water Star program, which has to do with criteria for the appliances and the plumbing fixtures and irrigation in the properties. We'll have Florida-friendly landscaping, which includes using water-conserving irrigation techniques and drought-tolerant plants. And then another big one is we intend to reuse the water from the wastewater treatment plant to even further minimize the irrigation needs. The wastewater treatment plant will be down in this area, and we intend to treat the wastewater to advanced treatment levels. So essentially the effluent from the wastewater treatment plant will meet drinking water standards. The headworks of the plant are going to be enclosed to minimize or hopefully eliminate any odor issues. And then we're going to reuse the water from the wastewater treatment plant effluent to irrigate the common areas on the property. So are there any questions about water resources?
The water that from the street drainage and stuff is reusable? Does it go into holding ponds?
Well, the stormwater will be collected in stormwater ponds, bioswales. We're going to use swales to the maximum extent possible, and to use those to treatment and allow the water to recharge the aquifer. But there will be some areas where we will very likely have some holding ponds or bioswales, or rain gardens, that sort of thing.
Excuse me. One of the conditions that the Northwest Florida Water Management District incorporated into the development order is that they had to meet outstanding waters Florida standards. Even though Econfining Creek is not classified as an outstanding waters of Florida, they required this development to include that. So that means that they're going to be advancing the level of water treatment, stormwater treatment before it's discharged.
That's correct. They recommended that, and we've agreed to do that. Any other water resource questions?
Can you explain that program again, the outstanding waterways?
That Mike was just talking about?
Yes.
There is a requirement for certain more stringent stormwater treatment standards for waters that are classified as outstanding Florida waters. There are none of the waters associated with this project that are classified as outstanding Florida waters, nor is the Econfining Creek that these branch creeks feed into. But in spite of that, we're going to treat them as if they were classified as outstanding Florida waters.
All your holding ponds are going to have a liner in them. I think I read that in here.
Yeah, I think what you're referring to is in the wastewater treatment plant area where we produce the wastewater treatment plant effluent, there will be a pond that has that effluent that is treated to drinking water standards, where we hold it until we pump it wherever it needs to go to irrigate landscaping, and those ponds will be lined. Yes.
What is the contingency on those ponds, should there be an overflow of saturation, so forth in the area, such as tropical storms, unexpected rainfall, catastrophic failure of the facility?
Right.
In the wastewater treatment plant requirements, there's a specific criteria that all wastewater plants have to be designed to deal with tropical storm or hurricane conditions. And that means that you have to provide for 3 full days of storage beyond your standard 1-day pumping capacity. So you have 1 day of capacity, and you have 3 days of freestanding reserve as a minimum standard.
That's at your maximum capacity.
That is your maximum capacity. So that's 3 days in addition to your 1 standard day. And so you've got a lot of ponds that are sitting there. Because the theory is that under a hurricane condition, there's a period of time that you're not going to be using irrigation water. So therefore, you have to have pond capacity to accommodate.
Is there groundwater saturation levels?
Groundwater saturation,
Your effluent spray fields, do they not have a saturation point?
there are no spray fields associated with this project. The ponds hold the water until you use
Will
it
be used
for,
as irrigation.
as irrigation. It's 100% used as
Is there a
irrigation.
saturation rate on your irrigation?
Absolutely. Sure.
And then what do you do with the effluent?
You're assuming that we exceed the saturation point. That's why you have,
That's what I'm asking.
that's why you have the holding capacity within the ponds.
For 3 days.
Yes, sir. 3 extra days. So you have 1 day as a standard, and you have 3 days in excess of that. Okay. And you look at the soils that are in this project, and we don't have a problem with that, because we've got high droughty soils. This particular area of the region is set up as a high mounded, high recharge area. So what we are doing is we're putting our stormwater into a recharge area, we're putting our effluent into a recharge area. So there's not a groundwater saturation issue for this project because of the soil conditions. You don't have low flatlands. Central and South Florida, you have very significant issues. We don't have that condition in this project.